welcome back to our channel. So our topic for today will be all about leases. So in this standard, see to it that we'll use a new standard or the new standard which is IFRS number 16. So the old standard regarding leases will no longer be applicable starting January 1, 2019. Okay? So as defined by the Appendix A of IFRS number 16, lease is actually a contract or part of a contract that conveys the right to use, once again, the right to use the underlying asset for a period of time in exchange, of course, for a consideration. Ibig sabihin, one party, which is yung tatawagin nating lessor, once again, meron tayong tinatawag na lessor, no? Meron siyang property, no? This is yung asset or property ni lessor, and then anong gagawin? Hahayaan niya or bibigyan niya ng right si lessee to use that property, no? Then, in exchange, the lessee will pay consideration or will pay cash. Okay? So, sir, para pala yung rent transaction, well, in form, yes, it is a rent transaction, but later on, no, papatunayan natin na in substance, it is not just a rent transaction. Okay? So, once again, lease under IFRS 16 is a contract or part of a contract that conveys the right to use the underlying asset for a period of time in exchange for consideration. Okay? So, to be a lease now, the contract must convey the right to control the use of an identified asset. Alright? So, paano natin malalaman na merong right to use or to control the use of an asset si lessee? Well, according to IFRS number 16, right, a contract conveys the right to control the use of an asset if throughout the period of use or throughout the lease term, the customer has the right to what? Number one, the customer or the lessee has the right to obtain substantially what? Obtain substantially all the economic benefits, economic benefits from the use, again, from the use of the identified asset. Okay? So, once again, the first criteria para masabi natin na yung lessee meron siyang right to control the use of an asset is that the lessee must obtain substantially all the economic benefits. Ibig sabihin, siya lang ang nagbe-benefits doon sa asset na yun. Siya lang yung gumagamit. Okay? From the use of the identified asset. Then, number two, what's the number two? The lessee, the lessee has the right to direct the use of the identified asset. Ibig sabihin, siya yung nagdi-decide kung papaano po yan gagamitin. Okay? So, if the customer, or the lessee has the exclusive use or exclusive right to use the asset throughout the lease term, see to it na, right, masasabi natin na meron siyang right of use. Also, if the lessee has the right to direct, right, how and for what purpose the asset is used throughout the period or the lease term, see to it na masasabi din natin na meron siyang right to control the use of an asset. Once again, to be a lease, a contract must convey the right to control the use of an identified asset. Ibig sabihin, without these two, hindi natin pwedeng sabihin na lease transaction yan. Are we good? Now, meron ngayon tayong dalawang klase ng lease. So, sir, ano po yung dalawang klase ng lease? Meron tayong tinatawag na operating lease. And then, meron tayong tinatawag na finance lease. Okay? So, sir, ano po ang pinagkaiba ng operating lease or at finance lease? So, punta muna tayo sa operating lease. Kapag sinabi po nating operating lease, this lease, once again, this lease does not transfer substantially, pagpasensya nyo na yung sulat ko kung medyo pangit, all the, what? All the risk and rewards to ownership or of ownership of an underlying asset. Once again, operating lease is the lease that does not transfer, once again, does not transfer substantially all the risk and rewards to ownership of an underlying asset. Ibig sabihin here, in operating lease, who is the owner? The owner will still be the lessor, once again, the lessor will still be the owner of the property. Ibig sabihin ngayon, we can conclude or we can safely conclude that operating lease is just what? Is just a rent transaction. Because hindi naman na ipapasa doon kay lessee yung right or sabihin natin yung risk and rewards of ownership pagdating sa asset na yun. Okay? So, kapag sinabi naman nating finance lease, this is a lease, no, that transfers, again, this is a lease that transfers substantially, all the risk, all the risk and rewards of ownership. Ibig sabihin, right dito, in substance, si lessee na ang may-ari. Nagkakaintindihan ba? So, even though, no, in form, finance lease is just a rent transaction, see to it that since here, under this classification of lease, the underlying asset will be transferred, no, or the risk and rewards of ownership will be transferred to the lessee. See to it now that in substance, it is actually what? It is actually a sale transaction. And apparently, yung tinatawag po natin na lease payments are actually what? Are actually installment, no? These are considered to be installment payments. Okay? Once again, here in accounting, anong sinusundan natin? Is it the form or is it the substance? Always remember that substance, no, always prevail over the form of the transaction. So, even though in form, this is just a rent transaction, see to it na ang mindset natin kapag narinig mo ang finance lease, it is actually what? It is actually a sale transaction. Anong ba? Meaning dito, natatransfer na yung right pagdating sa risk and rewards of ownership kay lessee. Are we good? So, the next problem is paano natin malalaman, no, kung finance lease ba yan or operating lease ba yan? Well, fortunately, paragraph 63 of IFRS number 16 is binigyan tayo ng mga rules, no? So, according to paragraph 63, anyone sa mga sasabihin ko, no, would normally result to a conclusion that the lease contract is a finance lease. Once again, anyone, right, sa mga sasabihin ko would result to a conclusion na yung lease contract is actually what? Is actually a finance lease. So, kapag wala itong mga to, normally the lease is just an operating lease. Okay? So, residual definition tayo kay operating lease. So, para hindi ka mahirapan, bibigyan kita dito ng acronym, no? So, ano yung acronym natin? Acronym natin dito will be TOMS. Okay? So, sir, anong ibig sabihin ng TOMS na yan? Well, letter T will be what? Letter T will be the transfer of ownership, no? Again, letter T will be the transfer of ownership. Enumerate lang natin muna isa-isa, no? Letter O will be the option. Once again, letter O will be the option to purchase. Once again, option to purchase the asset. Okay? Letter M will be what we call the material lease term. Again, meron tayong tinatawag na material lease term. Then last will be the substantial, no? Again, substantial present value of lease payments. Okay? So, isa-isahin natin. Start tayo dito sa letter T. So, kapag sinabi nating transfer of ownership, see to it that if the lease, no? Once again, if the lease transfers ownership of the underlying asset to the lessee at the end of the lease term, ibig sabihin at the end of the lease term, sige, lessee, sa'yo na yan. Sabi ni lessor, see to it na automatically finance lease to. Maliwanag? Once again, kay lessee po natatransfer kasi originally si lessor ang may-ari. Okay? Letter O will be the option to purchase the leased asset. So, see to it that if the lease, right, or the lessee has an option, once again, if the lessee has an option to purchase the asset at a price which is expected to be sufficiently lower than the fair value at the date the option becomes exercisable, the lease will be considered to be a finance lease still. Pero may requirement dito sa letter O eh. Sir, ano po yun? Lagi mong tatandaan na dapat sasabihin ng problem, no? That at the inception of the lease, once again, dapat at the inception of the lease, it must be reasonably certain that the option will be exercised. So, if at the inception of the lease, wala namang balak i-exercise, no, ni lessee, yung option na yan, see to it na operating lease pa rin tayo. So, hindi enough na sinabi ng problem na may option to purchase the asset. Dapat, at the inception date or sa pag sinabi natin inception date, yun yung start date ng term nila, no, or ng contract nila. So, dapat at the start of the contract or at the inception date, it must be reasonably certain that the option will be exercised. Okay? Next, muna tayo sa letter M. That's the material lease term. So, see to it that if the lease term is for a major part, no, of the economic life of the underlying asset, see to it, no, na what? See to it na finance lease pa rin. Sir, paano natin malalaman na material yung lease term? Well, we can say na material yung lease term if at least, no, once again, at least, yung lease term na yan is 75% of the useful life of the asset. Okay? Ibig sabihin, kung 12 years, no? Once again, if 12 years yung useful life ng asset na yan, nirentahan mo ng 9 years. So, 75% ikaw ang gumamit. So, parang ikaw na lang talaga gumamit sa kabuuan ng buhay ng asset na yan. So, parang ikaw nang may-ari. Kaya, finance lease to. Okay? Then, letter S will be the substantial present value. Once again, present value po. Substantial present value of lease payment. Meaning, if the present value of the lease payments amounts to substantially all of the fair value of the underlying asset at the inception of the lease will be classified as finance lease. Pero paano natin malalaman na substantial na yan? It is considered substantial if at least, once again, at least, the present value of lease payment is what? Is at least 90% of the fair value, no, of the asset. So, if yung present value of lease payment is at least 90% of the fair value, parang binayaran mo na yung buong halaga ng asset. Kaya parang finance lease to. Nagkakaintindihan ba? Ngayon, ganito. Asahan mo na kapag letter T or letter O tayo, anong meron? Pag letter T or letter O tayo, the asset will be reverted. Again, it will be reverted to the lessee at the end of the lease term. Ibig sabihin, hindi na babalik yung asset. Once again, kapag letter T or letter O tayo, hindi na babalik yung asset kay lessor. Okay? Pero kapag letter M at letter S po tayo, the asset will be what? Will be reverted back to the lessor. Ibig sabihin, babalik kay lessor yung asset. Sir, bakit ganun? Kung hindi naman pala bentahan talaga yung letter M at letter S, bakit natin i-consider or i-classify yung transaction as a finance lease? Because once again, here in accounting, ayaw natin na naloloko tayo. Nagigets mo ba? So, even though, right, walang transfer of ownership, no? Even though the asset will be reverted back to the lessor, if the lease term is at least 75% of the useful life, or the present value of lease payment is at least 90% of the fair value, finance lease pa din po yan. Nagkakaintindihan po ba tayo? Right? Once again, isa lang sa mga to, automatically magiging finance lease po ito. Ulitin ko, nasa point of view po tayo dito ni lessor. Okay? Dalawang point of view kasi ito eh. Ano yung dalawang point of view na yun? Point of view ni lessor at point of view ni lessee. So, tatlong part or apat na part, should I say, itong discussion natin, no? So, first two part, nandito po tayo sa point of view ni lessor. Then, last two part will be the point of view of the lessee. Okay? So, dito, kapag present, no, isa lang sa mga to, automatically, sa point of view ni lessor, isa na po itong finance lease. Pero kapag wala yung mga yan, automatically, as a general rule, magiging operating lease lang po yun. Okay? So, discuss ngayon natin, no, yung operating lease muna. Again, start po tayo sa operating lease, no, sa point of view ni lessor. Okay? So, actually, ito ang focus ng part na to ng discussion natin. Okay? So, once again, right, according to IFRS 16 paragraph 61, lessor shall classify leases as either operating lease or finance lease. At nakadepende yun dun sa mga sinabi ko kanina. So, lessor shall recognize, no, lease payment under an operating lease. Once again, the lease payments under an operating lease will be recognized as what? This will be recognized as income, or should I say rent income? Because sabi natin kanina, kapag operating lease, tipo bang rent lang talaga to. So, all lease payments now that are received, once again, tayo nagpapaupa, that are received by the lessor will just be recognized as income. Pero, these are recognized as income on a straight line basis. Once again, straight line basis po tayo, or sabi ng standard, other or another systematic basis if that other systematic basis is more representative of the pattern in which benefit from the use of the underlying asset is diminished. But if the problem is silent, straight line basis lang tayo. So, anong ibig sabihin ng straight line basis? Well, ang ibig lang naman sabihin yan is that rent income, Once again, rent income every period, every period must be what? Must be the same. Okay? So, sir, paano kapag every year paiba-iba, yung payment? Let's say, sabihin po natin na sa first year, 100,000 yung singilan. Second year, bigla ang singilan po is 120,000. And then, pagdating po ng third year, ang singilan na po is 150,000. So, paano yan, sir? Paano po tayo magre-recognize ng income? Well, if this will be the case, kunin mo muna yung total, So, 100 plus 120 plus 150 is actually equal to 370,000 pesos. Pero, palitan ko to, Gawin kong 110 lang to para sakto. Walang butal. Yun yung ibig sabihin. So, 100 plus 110 plus 150 is actually equal to 360,000. So, divide mo lang yan by 3 years. Once again, i-divide mo lang po yan by 3 years, makukuha mo na yung annual rent income. So, 120,000 na will be our annual rent income. Yun yung ibig sabihin ng straight line basis. Nagkakaintindihan ba? Ngayon, ganito, Lagay ko ulit dito. First year, second year, third year. Okay? So, dito, meron tayong cash received from the lessee rather. Then, meron tayo ditong rent income. And hindi pareho. That's why dito sa last side, meron tayong asset or liability na kailangan i-recognize. Okay? So, sa first year, naka-receive tayo ng 100,000. Magkano dapat? Kailangan po nating maka-receive ng 120,000. Ibig sabihin, kung 120,000 ng income, 100 lang ang na-receive, we have to recognize 20,000 what? 20,000 rent receivable for the first year or at the end of first year. Okay? Paliktarin ko to. Gawin kong 150 to para masaya. And then, ito yung 110. Okay? Now, pagdating sa second year, magkano na yung total na na-receive natin? 100 plus 150, that's equal to 250,000. Magkano na yung total rent income? 120 times 2, dapat 240,000 pa lang. Kung naka-receive ka na ng 250, 240 pa lang yung income mo, meron ngayon tayo ditong 10,000 na what? 10,000 na rent liability or rent payable. Okay? Then sa third year, magkano na yung total? 100 plus 150 plus 110, or that's 360,000. And since 360,000 na rin yung total income natin, see to it that at the end of lease term, there will be no rent receivable or rent payable that will be recognized. So, i-recognize lang yun, right? During the lease term, but at the end of the lease term, wala nang ganyan. Okay? So, since hindi po pareho yung payment or yung amount na nare-receive natin at saka yung income, asahan mo na pwedeng magkaroon ng rent receivable or rent payable. Okay, basta lagi mo tatandaan that lessor shall recognize lease payment from operating leases income either on a straight line basis, yun yung kapag silent ang problem, or another systematic basis if this is more or if this another systematic basis is more representative of the pattern in which the benefit from the use of the asset is diminished. Okay? Pero straight line basis lang to madalas. Liwanag ba yun? Are we still good? Ngayon ganito, under operating lease po, see to it na sinong may-ari. Ang may-ari pa rin dito or the owner will still be the lessor. Ibig sabihin ngayon, the lessor will be the one who will recognize what? The lessor will be the one who will recognize depreciation expense. So si lessor po, nagre-recognize siya ng depreciation expense, and depreciation expense is computed normally. Kung papaano po tayo mag-recognize ng depreciation expense under PPE, ganun lang din po yung pag-compute ng depreciation expense dito. Okay? Ngayon, kung pag-usapan natin yung mga special consideration or concepts na kailangan nating matandaan dito sa operating lease, because hindi lang basta-basta again, hindi lang po basta-basta rent income ang kino-compute dito. Marami pa. Okay? So, start tayo doon sa tinatawag natin na initial direct cost. Again, initial direct cost paid, once again, paid by the lessor. Kasi na kay lessor tayo. Eh, sir, what if paid by the lessee? Pag paid by the lessee, walang paki si lessor dyan. Maliwanag ba? So, lessor will never, once again, lessor will never recognize, no, the initial direct cost paid by the lessee. Ang kino-consider lang niya will be the initial direct cost paid by him. Okay? So, see to it, no, na itong mga initial direct cost na to will be what? Will be added, no? Again, these are added to the carrying amount of the asset because tayo pa rin ang may-ari. So, pwede natin dagdagan yung carrying amount. Maliwanag? Apparently, i-add mo po yung remaining initial direct cost dun sa carrying amount na yon. And then, nire-recognize natin to as expense over what? This will recognize as expense over the lease term. Okay? So, see to it, no, na hindi po based sa useful life of the asset ang pag-expense sa initial direct cost. This is based saan? This is based sa lease term. Okay? And any unexpensed portion, once again, will be added dun sa carrying amount of the asset. Liwanag ba yun? Now, punta tayo sa pangalawa. Pangalawa is yung mga tinatawag po natin na executory cost. So, sir, ano po yung mga executory cost na yan? Well, executory cost, no, these are the cost that are incurred by the lessor, no, in maintaining the asset. Sir, ano yung mga example niyan? Ito po yung mga depreciation. Ano pa? Ito yung mga maintenance or repairs, no? Repairs and maintenance. Ano pa? Taxes, no pa? Etc. na. Marami pa. Okay? So, these costs, no, that are incurred by the lessor in maintaining or in owning the asset will be what? Will be expense as incurred. So, hindi po sila dinideferred. Hindi kagaya nung initial direct cost. Yung initial direct cost, see to it po na dinideferred sila. Hindi sila ine-expense outright. Ine-expense sila over the lease term. Pero ang executory cost, these are actually expense as incurred. Alwanag? Next, punta tayo sa number 3. Sir, ano yung number 3? Number 3 is yung tinatawag po natin na refundable security deposit. Again, meron tayong tinatawag na refundable security deposits. Okay? So, refundable security deposits, see to it, are not classified or not recognized as income. Sir, bakit naman? From the word itself, refundable po yan. Ibabalik po natin yan kay lessee at the end of the lease term. Ibig sabihin, if ibabalik natin yan kay lessee at the end of the lease term, refundable security deposit now is recognized as a liability. So, isa po yung liability, ah. Then, number 4 will be what? Number 4 is yung tinatawag natin na lease bonus. Sir, ano po yung lease bonus na yan? Well, kapag sinabi nating lease bonus, yan lang naman yung tinatawag natin na padulas, no? Sir, what do you mean padulas? Well, most of the time, no, lalong-lalo na in real life, maraming gustong umupa sa place na yan, lalong-lalo na kapag nasa magandang pwesto yan. Nagigets mo ba? So, para piliin ka ni lessor, again, minsan kailangan mong magbigay ng padulas or ng suhol. Those are actually the lease bonus or these are the additional payments made by the lessee to obtain the lease. So, kapag nagbigay ka, no, or naka-receive ka, lessor pala tayo, if naka-receive ka ng lease bonus from the lessee, para pagbigyan mo siya na sa kanya ipaupa yung property na yon, see to it na itong lease bonus na to, tinitreat as what? These are treated as unearned revenue. Okay? Ibig sabihin ng unearned revenue, liability po ito. And then, these are recognized as income. Again, these are recognized as income over what? Over the lease term. So, ililipat rin naman natin sila sa income, pero not outright. Right? I-amortize natin sila over the lease term. Maliwanag? So, to apply all this, no, to the problems, let's now move on here in illustrative problem number 1. So, here in illustrative problem number 1, Pepper Company owns an office building and normally charges tenants 3,000 per square meter per year for office space. Because the occupancy rate is low, Pepper Company agreed to lease 1,000 square meters to Ivana Company at 1,200 per square meter for the first year, no, of a 3-year operating lease. Rent for the remaining years will be at the 3,000 rate. So, sa first year, 1-2 lang kasi mababa yung mababa yung occupancy rate, hindi natin na ipapaupa ng maayos. Pero sa second at third year, magiging 3,000 na. Next, sabi ng problem, Pepper Company moved into the building, no? Should I say Ivana? Kasi si Ivana yung nag-upa dito eh. So, Ivana Company moved into the building on January 1, 2022 and paid the first year rent in advance. So, the requirement here is the amount of rental revenue that should be reported in the income statement for the year ended December 30, 2022. Okay? So, here sa first year, magkano ang ating babayaran? Ang ating babayaran will be, marireceive will be 1,200 times 1,000 square meters or this is equal to 1.2 million. Okay? Sa second year, at saka sa third year, well, ibang usapan na. Back to the original rate na 3,000 na dapat. So, magkano na yung ating marireceive sa second at third year? Ang marireceive na natin is 3 million pesos each. Okay? So, sa year 1 lang tayo nagbigay ng bonus. Liwanag ba? So, kapag in-add natin yung tatlong yan, the total will be equal to 7.2 million. Then, divide mo yan by 3 kasi 3 years nga to. Ang makukompute mo is 2.4 million. So, 2.4 million now will be the annual, no? Again, this is the annual rent income. But 2.4 million or alpha is not yet the final answer. Sir, bakit naman? Because once again, ang year end ni Pepper is September 30 lang. Ibig sabihin, 9 months lang to. Okay? Kasi January 1, lumipat si Ivana eh. So, ibig sabihin, rent income, no? Again, rent income for 9 months will now be equal to 2.4 million times 9 over 12, again, times 9 over 12, or this is equal to, magkano to guys? Magkano to? This is equal to 1.8 million. That is why problem number 1, Charlie, or 1.8 million, will be our final answer. Nagkakaintindihan ba tayo doon? Ngayon, punta tayo sa illustrative problem number 2. Here, in illustrative problem number 2, Pepper Company leased an office to Ivana Company for a 5-year term beginning January 1, 2022. Under the lease terms, no, of the operating lease, rent for the first year is 800, then rent for the years 2 through 5 is 1,250 per annum. So, discounted ulit yung first year. Then, however, an additional discount to, no, as an inducement to enter the lease, Pepper Company granted Ivana Company the first 6 months of the lease rent-free. So, kung 800 yung renta, no, sa first year, then 6 months na lang ang babayaran daw ni Ivana, see to it na sa first year, 400,000 na lang ang marireceive. Okay? So, 5 taon to, no? First year, second year, third year, fourth year, at saka fifth year. Okay? So, sa first year, ang marireceive lang natin is 400,000. Pero sa years, 2 through 5, tig 1,250 na. Year 1 lang tayo mabait. Ganun din naman yung boyfriend mo, di ba? Year 1 lang mabait. Okay? Joke lang. So, kapag kinumpute mo yung total ng 5 to, magkano to? 1,250 times 4 plus 400,000 or this is equal to 5.4 million. Okay? 5 taon to. So, divide mo yun by 5. So, magkano ngayon yung annual rent income? Again, the annual, no, rent income will be equal to 5.4 million divided by 5 or this is equal to 1,080,000 pesos. So, if the question is the amount that should be reported as rental income for 2022, 1,080,000 or Charlie will now be our final answer. Okay? Now, punta tayo dito sa illustrative problem number 3. Illustrative problem number 3, on January 1, 2017, Pepper Company leased a building to Ivana Company under a 4-year operating lease. So, 4 na taon to, no? The monthly, once again, monthly to, monthly rental for 2017, 18, 19, and 20 is 100, 150, 200, and 250,000 respectively. Then, rentals are payable at the end of each month. Then, all rental payments within the year were made when due. So, the requirement here is the amount that should be reported as rent receivable from Ivana Company on December 31, 2018. So, dito, pinaupa natin si Ivana, no, for the years 2017, 2018, 2019, at 2020. So, magkano yung monthly rentals na nare-receive natin from Ivana? Well, sa 2017, that's 100,000. 2018, 150 na, nagmahal. 2020, nagmahal ulit. 200,000, ganun talaga, nagmamahal. Tama ba? Then, sa 2020, 250,000 na. Okay? So, magkano ngayon yung annual rental natin? Annual rentals received from Ivana will be 100 times 12 or that's 1.2 million. 150 times 12 or this is equal to magkano? 150 times 12, this is equal to 1.8 million. 200 times 12, this is equal to 2.4 million. And then 250 times 12, this is actually equal to 3 million pesos. And adding these 4 annual rentals will give us how much? 1.2 plus 1.8 plus 2.4 plus 3 million, or this is equal to 8.4 million. Again, this is equal to 8.4 million. I-divide natin yan by 4 years, makukuha natin yung annual rent income. Again, this will be the annual rent income of how much? This is equal to 2.1 million. Diba, ba? Ngayon, ang tinatanong is magkano ba yung rent receivable on December 31, 2018? So, lagay natin, 2017, then 2018. Rent or rentals received, then meron tayo ditong income. Okay? Well, sa 2018 na lang. Huwag na natin yung 2017. Sa 2018, magkano na yung total rentals na na-receive natin? That's 1.2 million plus 1.8 million, or nakaka-receive na tayo ng 3 million pesos. Pero magkano na dapat yung income natin? That's 2.1 million times 2 kasi 2017 yung start. Or this is equal to 4.2 million. So 4.2 million na yung income, 3 million pa lang ang nare-receive natin. So ang ibig sabihin ngayon, meron po tayong rent receivable which is equal to how much? Which is equal to 1.2 million. That's why here, in illustrative problem number 3, 1.2 million or Charlie will be our final answer. Again, illustrative problem number 3, Charlie will be our final answer. Okay? Now, punta tayo dito sa illustrative problem number 4. On January 1, 2022, Pepper Company leased a building to Ivana Company under an operating lease for 10 years. Again, 10 years at 500,000 per year, payable the first day of each lease year. Pepper Company paid 150,000 to a real estate broker as initial direct cost. So once again, amortize po yan over the 10-year lease term. So ibig sabihin, kapag dinivide natin yan by 10 years, ang annual expense natin will be equal to 15,000 pesos. Okay? Next, the building is depreciated 120,000 per year. Then Pepper Company paid insurance and property taxes amounting to 90,000 for 2022. So 120 plus 90 or this 210,000 is yung tinatawag po natin na what? Ito yung tinatawag natin na executory cost. Once again, executory cost are what? Are expense as incurred. Maliwanag ba? Ngayon ganito, anong tanong? What is the rent income for 2022? So dito, meron tayong rent income which is equal to 500,000 per year. Wala naman sinabi na hindi pare-pareho yung bayaran every year. Therefore, kung walang sinabing ganun, we'll assume na yung 500, yan na yung income per year. I-less natin dito yung what? I-less natin dito yung initial direct cost per year na kailangan nating i-expense which is equal to 15,000 pesos. Then, i-less din natin yung mga executory cost. So, this will be equal to 210,000 and apparently, the net rent income will be how much? The net rent income now will be equal to 500,000 plus, minus rather, 15,000, then minus 210,000, or this will be equal to 275,000. So, alpha will now be our final answer here in illustrative problem number 4. Okay? So, ngayon ganito. Example lang, For example, April 1 po ang commencement of the lease or starting date natin. So, if ang starting date po natin is April 1, see to it na 9 months lang po dapat. Maliwanag ba? So, itong rent income, imumultiply mo po yan ng 9 over 12. Itong initial direct cost, since nakabase yan sa lease term, imumultiply mo rin yan ng 9 over 12. Pero itong executory cost na to, once again, itong executory cost, hindi mo po yan minumultiply by 9 over 12. Kasi kung magkano yung na-incur mo, yun na yung i-expense mo. Expense as incurred po tayo sa executory cost. Okay? Then last problem will be illustrative problem number 5. Pepper Company leased a new machine to Ivana Company on January 1, 2022. The lease expires on January 1, 2027, and then the annual rental is how much? 900,000. And then additionally, on January 1, 2022, Ivana Company paid 500,000 to Pepper Company as a lease bonus, no? So, ibig sabihin, deferred to and amortized over the lease term. Ilang taon ba yung lease term dito? Well, ang sabi dito, mag-expire yung lease ng January 1, 2027. January 1, 2022 ang start. So, 5 taon to. So, i-divide natin to by 5. See to it now, no? 100,000 ang ini-income natin every year. Okay? And then, naka-receive din tayo ng 250 security deposit to be refunded, no, upon the expiration of the lease. Liability naman po ito. Because sabi natin, ang refundable security deposit, binabalik mo yan kay lessee. So, kung ang tanong is kung magkano daw ba yung rent revenue for the current year, our final answer will just be equal to 900 plus 100,000 or this is equal to 1 million pesos. That's why illustrative problem number 5, Charlie, will be our final answer. Okay? So, this will be the end of part 1, no? Pagdating sa discussion natin sa lease. Hopefully, natuto ka sa video na to. If you like this video, please subscribe and, click the notification bell. See you sa part 2 wherein we will discuss the finance lease accounting naman pagdating pa rin kay Lessor. Okay? So, God bless guys. Take care and see you on our next video.